Hey guys, I hope you're well and had a fantastic Christmas or holiday season, whatever you celebrate. And I hope that you're looking forward to 2025. I'm certainly looking forward to better weather in 2025. I can't wait for this greyness. I'm not talking about this greyness because that's not going anywhere. Well, it is. It probably will completely fall out one day. But anyway, past couple of months, especially where Lou, Peggy and I live, well, it's been just foggy and grey and drizzly and miserable. It's not been proper winter. I don't mind it when it's bright sunlight and 0 degrees, but it's just not been like that. Thankfully, today it's a little bit brighter and I'm able to take the M2 out for the first time in months and take Peggy out in the M2 because obviously when I'm in the M3 touring, well, she has a large boot to sit in with a bed, which is very nice and luxurious. I'm sure even she would say that. And when we're in Lou's S3 hatchback, well, that also has a boot. It's a bit smaller in there for her, but I don't think she minds it too much because it's her own private space. But when she's in the front of the M2 with me, well, I think she enjoys it. Do you enjoy it, Peg? Oh, yeah, I think the ride's a little bit firm for my liking. Yeah, it's a little bit shaky, but yeah, it's all right. I think also my feet could be a little bit higher because my vision when I'm lying down is not great, so I have to stand up all the time. Oh, okay, right. Well, there you go. That's Peggy, by the way. For anyone that doesn't follow me on Instagram, that is our lovely black lab puppy. She's just turned 1 and she's been amazing. Like you wouldn't believe, especially for me this year, which has been a year full of challenges health-wise. Before I get onto that, I just want to say a massive shout out and thanks to everyone for the support over the past year. 2025 has been really, really good. 2024 has been really good. I hope 25 is good as well. Instagram, I mentioned it a second ago. Well, I've just clocked over 100,000 Instagram followers, which is awesome because I really don't post enough on Instagram. I'm very active with stories and stuff when I go away on trips, but I don't post anywhere near enough. Someone like Petrolped seems to post 4 to 6 to 8 new main posts a day. So he's doing a really good job. Me, on the other hand, yeah, I'm very OCD with my Instagram. So go and check it out. Give us a follow if you fancy it. You won't get bombarded with posts because yeah, very little goes on there. Peggy's even got an Instagram, so I'll put that below if you're interested. I think she has 4,200 followers or something, which is pretty impressive, isn't it, Pegs? Oh, yes, yes. Let's start with a couple of highlights from 2024. The first one has to be the Volkswagen Passat. The whole story around that is just fantastic. Patrick and I had a brilliant time on the trip. We had lots of adventures and going-ons beforehand and afterwards, with the car being auctioned off to a lovely guy called Nathan. The video is now done 915,000 views. That's the main video. The collection video and taking it to Elite Garages, well, that's well over 400,000 views. So when you combine all 3 videos, must be fast approaching 1.5 million views, which is just awesome. So pleased about that because obviously Michelin backed us with it. Wasn't a cheap project, but it went well for everyone. Peggy, you're playing around with the iDrive classic. Oh, greatest hits. Is that what you want to listen to? Greatest hits. Is that what's on now? Oh, this is classical. Do you like that, Pegs? Oh yeah, that makes me feel so relaxed. Big thanks to everyone for watching that. And if you haven't, it's genuinely worth watching. I mean, once a video is more than a few weeks old, I make very, very little from the ad revenue. So I'm not just saying that to get more ad revenue. I'm saying it because it is quite literally an unbelievable feat and something that, yeah, I will always remember. A bit like the 7 Series one we did to Madrid 2 years ago. And the next standout video for me has to be the ST video, 911 ST video, which I only published recently, probably 2 months ago now. Again, it's done relatively well, about 125,000 views. And it was more about the time that Patrick and I had on that trip and with that car. It was awesome. It was very much like when we took the 992 Touring down to Portugal 2 and a bit years ago. It was very similar to that. We just had a great time filming that car. We both got to drive the car lots, and yeah, it will always go down as, well, one of my absolute favourite cars, if not my favourite car. Definitely my dream lottery winning car, but more so the actual adventures of filming that car and just going with Patrick. I mean, there's a bit of a common theme here, isn't there? My good mate Patrick, he tends to be on most of these memorable trips, and I am very grateful that I can share an experience and work on these trips with someone like Patrick. What about me, Mr. Joe? Am I going to come on one of them? Yes, you'll definitely be coming on one very soon, Pegs. I would love to take you away because you're such a patient, lovely dog. Not sure how I'm going to change gear here, but maybe I'll leave it in fourth. Oh, Mr. Joe, I think you're better off not changing gear in this car. Excuse me? So those two are probably my biggest highlights of the year, but so many others. I worked out the other day that I filmed and published 57 or 58 videos for the channel, which for me is impressive. But what's more impressive is the average view ratio was over 110,000 views. So if you added up the 57 or 58 videos and divided them divided their views by 57 or 58, it came out at just over 110,000 views, which is really, really impressive, because getting over 100,000 views, getting over 50,000 views these days on YouTube is hard, and that to me is a success. 50,000 views or more. So when you get over 100, well, it's a bonus, and obviously makes a little bit difference to the ad revenue and the income as well. Another big standout and positive for me this year was becoming a GT85 brand ambassador. I've done a few videos with them over the past couple of years. They're an organic fit, just like Michelin are, in the sense that I've used GT85 since I was a bike mechanic in my early teens, and to this day I can still smell GT85. I love using it on bikes, on cars, around the house. It's a fantastic product, and I'm just delighted that I'm their brand ambassador for the back end of 2024 and into 2025. And they've stood by me through not the best health over the past couple of months. Get to that again in a minute. While we're talking about brands and people that stand by me, well, we can't miss Michelin UK. Michelin have been fantastic, and they've signed me up for next year. So that'll be my 4th year as a Michelin UK automotive brand ambassador, and I am delighted about that, and I'm so grateful about that, because YouTube is very unpredictable and so many other elements are unpredictable, and just having Michelin UK with me for another year and GT85 means a lot in so many ways, because as we know, the cost of living and the cost of doing anything, looking after a dog, just keeps getting more expensive. So I'm very grateful to both those guys. And the third mention has to go to Mr. Tony Lewis and Berry BMW, because those guys do so much for me behind the scenes. I've worked with them for approaching 8 or maybe 9 years. I've certainly known Tony, or known about Tony, for over 10 years now, but I purchased this car off Tony 6-ish years ago, so gives you a good idea. And before this I had an M140i. So yeah, the length of our relationship, how much I love Tony, genuinely, he's just such a great guy. He is more so a friend than a salesman to me. I mean, he's never been a typical salesman. He's very, very different, and I think anyone that's purchased a car off Tony will know exactly what I'm talking about, except you wouldn't have purchased a car off Tony, you probably purchased 2, 3, 4, 5 or maybe more, like me and so many others. So big shout out to those guys. I guess the last couple of shout outs and thanks have to go to Peggy for just being an awesome dog. I grew up with dogs, never really had one of my own until 10, 11 months ago when we picked Peggy up, and she's just been amazing. Of course, my family, my parents, my brother and his partner, and of course Lou. I talk about Lou a fair amount in my videos and on my socials, and that's because she's amazing. We're getting married next year. I'm very excited about that, and she has just been my absolute rock this year, because although during the summer months I've kind of been more myself, at the start of the year I really wasn't well with some form of long COVID, and the back end of the year, for the past 3 months now, I've really not been well at all, with the exception of the last few days. I've perked up a bit, which let's hope it's the start or the beginning of the end. No, that probably sounds wrong when you're talking about health. Let's hope it's the beginning of the start of goodness. Anyway, I haven't also filmed a video for over 2 months, 2 and a bit months. So this is the first time talking to camera in a long time. It's kind of why I brought Peggy along, for moral support. Haven't I, Pegs? Oh, you're so beautiful. So yeah, huge thanks to Lou and everyone I've just mentioned. And the last thanks goes to a lovely subscriber and now definite friend called Saf, who is a doctor, lives up in Manchester, and has been so helpful through this minefield of trying to almost self-diagnose myself with whatever I've had wrong with me, and it continues. But yeah, I've not had much luck with my local GP or the NHS and the stupidly long waits. I mean, I just feel for anyone that's having to deal with that. I've had to go private, and even going private has been an absolute minefield, and I feel like I've had my pants pulled down a little bit. But having Saf to talk to check in with, it's just been amazing. Really, really amazing, mate. So I will forever be grateful for your support, and just, yeah, it's been amazing just having someone who knows what they're talking about to sound off and talk to. Anyway, enough of the miserable sort of health related stuff, but I thought I needed to update you lot on that, because although I've been feeding the channel with videos recently, I was just so lucky that during sort of August and September and the beginning of October, I filmed so much stuff. There were so many press launches, and so I stacked up all these videos on my hard drives, and I remember thinking sort of early October, wow, I've got 15 odd videos in the bag. What am I going to do with these? When am I going to find time to edit them? Little did I know that by the middle or end of October, I was going to be mostly housebound, and able to do an hour or two's editing a day suited me quite well and kept the videos trickling out. So still got a few more to go in January that I filmed months ago. Last thing to talk about, and something I did post on my Instagram about a week ago, is my beloved M2 Comp, or M2 Club Sport, whatever you want to call it. What's happening with it? Because I've really not used it much at all. The wonderful guys at Swift Performance put it all back together again with a freshly rebuilt engine. I think I picked up from them end of March, so 9 months ago, and I've used it, I think it's 4 times since then, twice on track and twice on the road. Literally little road trips like I've done today on camera. Nothing special, nothing exuberant, and I kind of need to figure out what I'm doing with this car, because I can't afford or justify having this car that just sits there. As you know, used car prices are heading down at the moment, including fairly desirable cars like this M2 Competition. To tax something like this, I think road tax is about 500 quid now. Insurance is, what did I pay? 1350, 1400 because of all the mods. So that's only going to go up in March when the insurance is due again. So you're talking about nearly £2,000 just insurance and road tax a year. And although I love this car, it's hard to justify. And then you add in, you know, if I do a track day, you've got all the expenses of that and consumables, it needs a service. Just, it does add up, and I'm struggling to sort of justify having this car. I love it, it's my dream build, but now I've got it, I'm like, why am I not using it more? I didn't take it abroad at all. So I think unless I've planned some really cool trips into France or the Alps with it in the next couple of months, then maybe I'm going to let it go, because well, there's a bit of money tied up in it. In fact, because I own it outright, there's a fair amount of money tied up in it, and that money might be spent better elsewhere for me at the moment. We haven't even pushed it in this video, have we? Oh, it's just the loveliest thing. Isn't it, Pegs? What are you doing? Are you chewing my harness? You can't chew the harness, Bubs. I don't want you to sell the car, Mr. Joe. I'm going to chew it to bits and then you can't sell it. It'll be worth nothing. I do love the car. I love everything about it. I love what Swift have done to it. I love the fact that I've had it since new. I love the fact that it's barely done any miles, really. I think we're about 12 or 13,000 miles, which is incredible. And I love the fact that it's kind of been through hell and back, but thankfully the engine was rebuilt, and to me at least it feels better than ever since Fabian rebuilt it. It really does. It feels so strong, this car. Even jumping out of cars like my M3 Touring, this feels every bit as quick as that once it's off the line, and I'm sure it is. Peggy, no. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this rather random video. I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on what's going on. I do have lots of things planned for next year. Whether or not they're all going to happen, let's see. Hopefully they will. I think January will be a fairly quiet month for me, because just going to be continuing to recover and hopefully get over whatever I have. First stop, in fact, starts tomorrow. Well, not first stop, definitely not. It's another stop or stage in trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Got cameras going inside me, which yeah, isn't going to be that pleasant. The second I get home in about 15 minutes time, I've got to start emptying out myself. Anyway, should we end on that note? Probably. Sending lots of love. Happy New Year from Peggy and I, who is continuing to chew the interior of my car. Peggy, stop it. I will see you at another video, hopefully very, very soon. Thanks again for all the support and love. Cheers, guys.